What I'm going to talk is about the work we had been doing during, my stay at the university, which is almost 30 years, yeah? And I'm going to try to resume the work we have been doing, which was encouraged also for Alan, which is my husband and my curator, yeah? And I want you to know a little bit of my garden, because I think this is the meeting for the experience of life. I have been hearing and I have been spending 15 years here or 20 years here. And it's true. When I arrived to the University of Puebla, I wanted to find and I wanted to work in the most wonderful institute of botany. And it wasn't possible because there was nothing about botany. So they said, well, we can give you a job, but you need to start the project. So again, as a good Mexican, I said, okay, I will start Flora de Puebla, no problem, yeah? And I didn't think in the time. So 1 year or 2 years later, I started to work at the University of Puebla. I was offered to, or was invited to work in the project of Botanic Garden. And again, I said, okay, yes, I'll do the Botanic Garden, yeah? So here is the Botanic Garden, see? You can see, when I started, this was totally empty. It was agricultural land, left abandoned, donated to the university. This is the main campus of the university in Puebla. It's 90 hectares. And there was nothing, just a little constructions here. So, as you can see, after almost 30 years, our garden is the only reservoir in the city which holds the largest wild plants collections in Puebla. You must know also some data of interest, because I think sometimes we work very hard outside, but we don't work inside, yeah? So that happened to me because our garden is part of the Mexican Association of Botanic Garden. I was president for some time in this period, yeah? I also was vice president of the Latin American and Caribbean Association of Botanic Garden. So I was very active in BGCI in that times when Peter Weiss Jackson was the secretary. And we was very, very into the conservation in a global scale. But this time we work in the first strategy for conservation in botanic gardens in Mexico. And believe me that it's a little difficult to work with such a diverse group of people and gardens. Also, another point you need to notice here is we are a university botanic garden, and we are not just any university. We are one of the best universities in province in Mexico, and it's a meritorious university. So we have a special category, and our bosses are very, very demanding. So I would say we are atypical in Mexico. I always been atypical. And one of the most important things in this garden has been continuity. Yeah. Mexico has a characteristic that many of the researchers, many of the directors, many of the bosses responsible of Botanic Garden last 5 years, 3 years, 7 years, 8 years. It changed, yeah, very much. And here is a little like dictatorial, I would say, because as I started as a scientist, nobody wanted my position. So I stayed the same time I've been working as a scientist, I've been working in the Botanic Garden. Yeah. So as we are university garden, we don't have priority in the university. The priority in the university is education. Yeah? So you need to educate, you need to do science, but you don't have money. So they say, you're free. You can do everything you want. You have a freedom of teaching, but you don't have money. So we have to learn to generate our money. Yeah? And the good thing when you are economical independent is that you can spend the money in the way you want. Yeah. Another point we have is we are certified as SECA, which is a Quality Center for Environmental and Education and Culture. So that means all the educational programs we have in our garden are certified, and the schools want our services. We create the money, and then we can pay for our field expedition. We were very, very ambitious, and we wanted to have the national oak collection in Mexico, but we didn't know what big the task was. So in 96, in 95, more or less, when the Mexican Association of Botanic Garden in a meeting asked to everybody to decide which collections, which plants, which genus we wanted to develop, I was very optimistic, and I said, oh, well, we have land. Everybody is choosing agaves and cactus. I will choose trees. Yeah, I have a lot of space. You must know that the Botanic Gardens in Mexico, with the exception of Jalapa and probably in Sinaloa, we have a very small size gardens, yeah? Some of them 1 hectare, and some of them are like 3 hectares, most of them. But we had 12 hectares, so we were good. And we started to work with the collection, with also the Zoological Park, African, which they had 60 hectares in disposition to grow plants. After a few years, the Zoological Park decided that animals were more important than plants, so no more support for the collection, and we have to work alone in the university. So we started to collect all around Mexico, and we had opportunity to do other works. However, in some moment, we had to collaborate with Conavio and tell them how many species do we have in Puebla. And, well, we had to work more in Puebla. When we noticed that we didn't have very much money, I had to take a decision, and I decided that we had to work in the flora of Puebla. The project I originally was started at the university. So in this publication is the first list of oaks review for us, and it's 41 species in 2011. So we started to work very intensively in Puebla, and what you see here is all the mapping of the locations that we have been working, and our curator has been working so hard in collecting the 217 municipalities that we have in Puebla. It's not the biggest state, it's like number 20 in Mexico, 34,000 kilometers, but it holds the highest elevations in Mexico. Yeah, Citlaltépetl or Pico de Orizaba is the highest elevation. Now, we have more collections in this area, so this is a little behind this map, but we can see here all the distribution of our trees, especially oaks, and in the next work, which is our first checklist, we had 48 oak species, and it was a book recently published. We have some copies if somebody wants to buy it. It belongs to the university. And the checklist was impressive. We had more than 5,500 species. So when we were collecting oaks, we had to collect also the other plants because we couldn't waste any money, any peso. So we had to, because remember we get the money, we raise the money for the research. So this put Puebla in the 7th place in biodiversity, in plant diversity in Mexico, and that's really, really good because nobody was looking into Puebla. They were thinking, oh, they are mad because the richest place is Chiapas, or the richest is Oaxaca, and all the money of the world went to that places. And actually, all our taxonomy has been checked. And there are many floras where the taxonomy has no review, and many synonyms exist. So we have now 28, all these species are in our book. We have 300 beautiful photographs, and this is the 3rd book we published with Alan regarding to Flora de Puebla. It's getting bigger, and more interesting every time. So after, during our math collection time, of oaks, we had many failures, many. We used to plant very small oaks. We didn't have skilled people. We also didn't know exactly. And Puebla is a very difficult place to grow plants. It's very harsh. It has 2 seasons. Winter is cold, hot, dry. And the summer is torrential rain. You can receive I don't know how many, half a meter of water. It's very intense, and that caused a lot of problems in floodings. So our collection didn't prosper, and some of the oaks didn't grow very well. But what you can see here is some of the oaks are growing better. Here, we had to put 50 lorries of soil to correct this problem we have here and take advantage of this land, which we couldn't use it. So we were learning through the time, and we were also using another techniques like the use of nurse plants in order to create microenvironments for the small oaks. Yes, we use Garrya ovata, which grows very well, Tecoma stans, prosopis, So it's also prosopis is a beautiful tree, and it's growing very well. Also, Alan recommends us to use hardy species in open areas, And you can see here, one of the best we have is Quercus sevifera. Lovely shrub tree, and beautiful color. It's not cultivar, but it's beautiful. You see, it's natural. The red color it has is fantastic. You don't need to do anything. Of course, the native oaks are the best to grow. When you went and visit the garden, some of you, this tree was recently, it has 2 years planted, and look at now, it's just gorgeous, It's beautiful, and the foliage is absolutely amazing. Our curator decided that this is a Quercus grahami and not a Rotundifolium as we used to have it, so we obey him. So we don't argue about that. Quercus liebmanni, some of you also visit this tree. This tree has a no perfect shape because, remember, when I started the garden, we went to the field to bring the plants. It was easy in that time. We didn't have any problems. Now it would be a special task, and we couldn't transport a tree this size. So remember, this was planted 28 years ago. But it's beautiful, and the foliage is absolutely gorgeous. This is like our autumn colors tree. These two, Quercus sartori and Germana. They come from Sierra Norte de Puebla. You can see here the acorns. And they were very, very well adapted to Puebla. And the reason of that is because they just are in different, located to the north side, to the north. And they grow very well. So we didn't have any problem with these trees since the beginning. You also visit Quercus glaucoides. You look at it, and it's beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. The bark is just black, black, black. Very tortuous shape. You cannot see it very well because my picture is not that good, but the other tree behind and is very, very nice. This tree is growing very well, and this the same species but raised from seed. And this is planted in a more exposed area. So this is one of the best trees we have. Everybody loves the tree, and it's very it produces a lot of acorns. We have many surprises because sometimes when you go to the field and you see the plant, you think it's not going to grow very well in your garden. And suddenly you realize that they are very vigorous, like Quercus autopista. Yeah. It's growing fantastically well in our garden, and it's very, very productive. It produces masses of acorns. Yeah. So we don't know what to do with them. Yeah. But you should know that we have a new regulation. I don't know how many countries have, but we have a new regulation with this, not just the Convention of Biodiversity in Rio. We have the Nagoya protocol, and now the gardens are not allowed to give seeds to the scientists to do the barcode, for example. Yeah. Just today in Oaxaca, Conavio is going to present the new rules for us if we want to do this. So that is a real, it hits the garden because limited the possibilities to grow in projects. Another surprise, and this is wonderful because this is Quercus jalapensis. It was misidentified for many years until produced the acorns. Yeah, so we had sartori and jalapensis with fruits at the same time, and they are so different that you don't have any doubt that, but biannual. Yes, this is biannual, and the other is annual. So there are no doubt that they are not synonymous. They are different species. So this is growing. It's not that big like in Jalapa, but it's in the red list, and it's growing just magnificent. Another beauty is Quercus lyophila. We never thought this grove was going to make it. It's absolutely beautiful. And look at the size of the acorns and the colors. Yeah. I could call my variety Maricela this. You can see here. It's beautiful, absolutely. And you touch it, and it's like silk. Some disappointments we have, but at least it's not dead. Quercus insignis never is going to be like in Huatusco, yeah? But at least it's growing, and he has faced, it's very resistant. He has faced drought, frost, and still is alive, yeah? What we have been doing now is changing of the location of the oaks that they are not doing well. We are changing to the another parts of the garden in order to protect it. But as you know, Mexico is a very warm country and welcomes everybody. So we have some Mediterranean oaks, yeah? And they are doing such a good, in a good shape. They are in a good way, and they look beautiful. Quercus ilex, we have about 5 or Quercus suber also, and you can see here the acorns of the islets. So it's magnificent for us, for people to see a Mediterranean oak in Mexico. It's just very good. So we have to fence this because people just love to sit below this oak, and they don't know how much difficult it is to get a Quercus suber. Some of them are Mediterraneans, but they are not doing so well, but they are getting there. Quercus rotundifolia and Quercus Virginia. And they are growing. Probably what we have seen is that some of the oaks, they don't develop very well the first years, but suddenly they start to grow, and is the moment we are waiting for. Well, not everything is, not all the stories are sweet. Mediterranean climates, you would think, oh, these Mediterranean oaks are growing very well. Well, this Quercus agrifolia would grow very well. No, look at it. Yeah, it's not dying, it's not very happy, it's just there. Yeah. So what's the reason? We don't know. What we know is that other species also do the same. You can see here, Pinus pinea, yeah, it's just pygmeo, and Pinus halepensis, which is much better, and these two are an example. So what is the reason that the Californian oaks are not growing very well? Because we have another species in the past and they didn't grow? We don't know, but we hope some. But what about the Americans? The Americans do like Mexico? Well, who knows? Because from all the Americans we have, these are our Quercus shumardi, and we have Quercus lacy. And they are not doing bad, but not as good as we would like. However, still they give us the color, the red color, and we are very happy with that. So we can show to people, oh, look at this, is like this. And it called attention to them. So we have at the moment 56 plants which are growing actually in the garden, so we are very pleased with that. We don't have the 160 species we were looking for, but we are sure that we will get what is possible to grow here. Another problem we have is we are running out of space. Yeah, my 12 hectares, I was very proud, is not enough. So we are looking forward to get more land. I told you to look at in the university start, yeah, the category, because this university started in 1578. So it has a long tradition. The La Fragua Historical Library has 150 years, something like that, 130 years. So we hope one day this garden also is going to be that old. So after all that work, what we can say? Well, the best thing is that we are proud because we hold the best living collection in Mexico so far. So if you go, you will have opportunity to see it. We know we have learned to grow the oaks in Puebla, which is not the same that in Cornell or is not the same in other places. In tropical places, the oaks grow faster. We know which of the oaks grow very fast now, yeah. So we can use to graph or with other purposes. But still we have many bad points. For example, we have been working many years in oaks. We don't want to repeat every week in the newspaper the importance of conservation, of oak forest restoration. But the government still don't see the need to start projects of this kind. Why? Because they grow very slow. Yeah? Our oak forest is threatened. We need to do something. And the worst thing is in the central part is threatened by urbanization, and in the north is mining, and mining is really, really destructive. So as university now, we are interested in the social retribution to the society, and we need to do something else. So that means that, again, we need to start to work and talk about conservation with the authorities. And we know that the weakest link or the weakest point is this. Politicians want impressive results, and they just are 5 years, because 1 year they do nothing. So in 6 years, in 4 years, they want the best results, and it's not possible. So we realize now that the importance of the root systems in oaks is compulsive. We need to have a very, very good root system in order that our oaks prosper. So we were thinking what we are going to do. So after seeing what Nina is doing, well, I have more ideas. But also in the university, we have been working with chemists, which they are organic chemists, and we have working in novelty brasinosteroids produced in our labs. And we have observed the increase of growth in some crops like maize, tomato, alfalfa. So we say, why we don't use it in oaks? Yes, and we started the experiment, and we are getting good results. So probably that is going to be something which is going to be done successfully. And the good thing, something we didn't have 20 years ago, it is that we have a lot of students now which are participating in our garden. They are biotechnology students, and this is the first time the garden is part of a bachelor program, which give us possibility to bring to the garden and to the problems we want to solve in the garden. So here, this is a publication of last year of our product, and it was in steroids. So what about the conservation issues? Yeah, we find that when the authorities ask us, let's argue to discuss about the threatened or endemic species, almost the list is the same, yeah, for two reasons. First, the botanists don't want to give the information, because if they give the information and go to the list, they will not able to collect the plant. It's going to make more difficult our work. So nobody wants to say, yes, yes, and they have a bunch of new species under the arm, yeah, and they don't want to say. So it's not complete. In other way, we have seen that some of the species reported as endemic, in reality, they are not endemic. At some point, maybe a region, yeah, or restricted to some parts, but we are sharing many species with Veracruz, Oaxaca, Guerrero, yeah. So that's only gives evidence that we need more exploration work. We also know how difficult it is to monitor or assess a species in a national level. You need a lot of money, a lot of time. You just got to look at the species, yeah? So we cannot afford to do that. We need to get more results. We had the experience with Quercus hintoni. Quercus hintoni, the only proof of our work is 2 alive specimens in Xochitla, which they are alive, but they struggle really to survive. And the other was more successful because in Huatusco there is a big plantation of Quercus insignis, and is more commercial, this plant. In addition, what we can say is that we want we want to give the information to our authorities, but we want to give them accurate information. We don't want to say, oh, just we need to declare this is a natural area and then nobody can go. We need to say exactly which points they need to conserve, because if not, also it's going to affect our work in the flora knowledge and the use of the species. For that, we are using our herbarium collection to analyze the distribution of these, and at the moment, we have analyzing the distribution of the oaks, and not just oak. We have started to analyze the trees we have. Yeah? So this is the kind of maps we are producing. You can see in blue the red oaks, and in green the white oaks. So you can see exactly the distribution they have. You can see here the weather, the climate, where they are. So it's very helpful. You can see also the soil conditions. And I think we are going to, the knowledge we have built now is going to allow us to go faster now. Another thing we are doing is to work with oaks and climate. We are interested, everybody. And what we are doing also is start to study the stomatal density in our cultivated plants, which is the highest altitude for some of them, and in the lowest point. So we want to study the adaptations in this, and we already have incorporated to our team to a molecular biologist who is going to do a lot of work at this level. Yeah. So we want to use the trichome, waxes, and many of the things we have listening here, and we want to use that as a taxonomic tool to solve some taxonomic problems and molecular biology. So I can see Antonio working with our molecular biologist, which his name is Carlos. And you can see here the kind of photographies we are having. This is Leibmani, is a wonderful species. We are cleaning the surface, we are eliminating the waxes, and I think when I started this project, I didn't know how difficult and how long term it was going to last. So now I want to show you. So you can have a look at my garden. This is all the part you knew, and this was all the new part. You can't believe it, don't you? And this is the new area we restored. And this is the concha acústica the head of the university wanted to build. We asked something more harmonious with the nature, but you know. So all this is what you visit, and these are the changes you can observe. So what I want to do now is just thank you for your attention and show you a little bit of our team. Yeah, not everybody is there, but some of them. As you see, one of the characteristics is Mexico has a lot of young people, and another characteristic is that the directors are getting older and older. So it's about time that new people carry on with the work. Thank you very much.